Good morning and good luck. And welcome back to Good Luck with Gino. I'm your host, Gino. And we're back from Coachella. So this weekend, went to Coachella with my girlfriend, Rhea. We were the humble guests of AEG and Golden Voice, who put on the festival. So it was my first Coachella. I'm traditionally not a big festival guy, but we decided to pop the festival cherry this weekend. And I want to start out by saying it was pretty tight. I think Coachella gets a bad rap because people, you hear like, oh, it's like an influencer fest. It's just a bunch of people taking photos. And that's true. It is that. But from a sheer music business spectacle perspective, it's incredible. It was really shocking and impressive just seeing what was built. There's several stages. It's fucking huge. It really is kind of a city within the desert that is just built from scratch. The people, they get there months before. So much planning and prepping and building, and it really was really impressive. AEG, Golden Voice, Gold House, they were incredible hosts for us. I definitely had the bougie Coachella experience. I could not do it any other way. Now, if you've known me for more than 26 seconds, you know that I'm a bougie fuck, right? You know that. So the thought of me camping in the sweltering heat, and it was sweltering. Now that's a fun adjective you can use at home. It was hot as fuck outside. It was like 100 degrees outside. And I got a mean pant collection. You understand? If you go through my closet, first of all, good luck, right? It's a Rolodex. You're just funneling through hot pieces. I don't have a lot of dope shorts. Kind of the one part of my pant game. And it's because I think the reason I don't have a lot of dope shorts is because despite how tall I look on camera, a lot of people think, wow, Gino, I thought you were 6'7", 6'8". You look so tall and handsome. Believe it or not, I'm not quite that tall. And so shorts, they kind of make me feel short, right? So I'm a pant guy. Too hot to wear pants, though. So I had to rock some shorts. And I couldn't, I mean, these, people get there at 10 a.m. and if you want to get, a good spot for this show, you get there at 10 a.m., you have to camp out in front of the stage, and you literally stay there all day. You can't leave. So people were in the fucking desert just sweating balls, just drenched. And just can't wait to see Rosalia. Just insane, dude. Crazy. We got a whole tour of the place. AEG took us on this golf cart tour, and I gotta tell you, I felt like the president, right? Rolling in the golf cart, just waving to everybody as I'm carting by, right? We got a tour of the campgrounds, yeah, and man, people just camp. I mean, they set up you're in a dirt parking lot with thousands of people with a tent. And people just tent up and just camp. And it's 100 degrees out. How are people not just passing out and dying? It smelled like a locker room everywhere. But it was really sick. And that's kind of when you go to a festival, that's what it is, right? You can't get around the stinkiness. It's a festival in the desert. But all things considered, the artist pass area was really nice. They had drinks and food and the whole oo-wop, and it was very nice. of all the people that I saw, there were a few standouts. Kate Renata was incredible. I met Kate Renata about, 7 years ago with my boy Sango. And it's just crazy, like, how far, I've been in music for a long time, but it's just really cool seeing somebody that, you've only met a few times. And, like, I'm not going to act like I know Kate Renata well, but just seeing him up there, like, just fucking living his best life in the, like, Lenny Kravitz turtleneck, just, like, it was just really cool, again, to see, damn, he really came a long way. And his set was unreal. Who else is great? Let's just cut the shit. The best set, the best act of the whole fucking Coachella, Rosalia. Just unbelievable. She's a fucking titan. She killed it. She shit on everybody. I mean, it was... understand this. Like, I'm a stan also. I'm a big fan of hers and her work. I'm a huge James Blake fan. I'm a huge Pharrell fan. So I love the last album. But the performance was just so well directed, and her voice was unbelievable. She was sick. She was like blowing her nose during the set, and just was so unapologetically confident on that stage. We're gonna talk about live performances today. It's gonna kind of be one of the themes of the show. But one of the things that you see a lot from artists is sometimes the stage is too big, especially at a place like Coachella, where you got fans just back there. I mean, there's so many fans. Obviously, the bigger acts are used to performing in front of those people, but it's a big stage. And some of the artists I saw, who I won't say, they felt like too tiny for this. They were overwhelmed, it seemed, by the stage. They were just kind of drowning in the space, and she was too big for the stage. She was absolutely just, it was great. It was an inspiring performance, and she was great. The real stars of the show, though, the real stars of Coachella are the sign language interpreters. Have you ever seen these sign language interpreters? They're next to the stage. They also have to stand there in the heat and dance all day. They got cameras and lights on them, and they're signing the music. They're signing, like, they sign the instrumentation. So if it's like, they're in there like, and they're like, and then they're like dancing. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm in sign language, and hopefully I'm not offending anybody that's deaf watching the podcast, but it was just fire. I mean, I couldn't, but they were fucking rock stars, and people were obviously watching the people on stage, but everybody was like, oh my God, look at the sign language interpreter. He's over there fucking crushing it. Huh? Look at this guy. I mean, it was wild. And they need to pay him more. I don't know what they pay him, but they need to pay him more. I do want to talk about influencers a little bit. Coachella is a parody of itself. It is very much an influencer fest, but not in the way that people think it's an influencer fest. I think people think, like, when they think of Coachella as an influencer fest, they just think of, like, super popping social media people being just like, selfies. It was really more so everybody there, it seemed, was their most influencer self, if that makes sense. Everybody today is an influencer in some way. Everybody's trying to create content and just show you the coolest lens of what they're doing all the time. And it definitely was that. And there were moments where I felt like, man, society is just so fucked. Like, everyone's just, you know what I mean? And including myself, I would be lying if I said that I was there just to experience the moment. No, I was definitely in my influencer bag, getting my influencer on. My biggest beef with Coachella. and I need everybody. It stretches beyond Coachella. There is an epidemic going on. Fake Cartier glasses. We need to put a stop to it, folks. If I had a fucking dollar for every fake pair of Cartier lenses that I saw at Coachella, I'd have a lot of dollars. I'd have like $600, which is a lot of fake Cartier. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, first of all, these are Cardis, right? I'm from Detroit, which is the Cardi capital. Whatever you've heard, whatever city started, Detroit is why you know about Cartier lenses. And that's all there is to it. End of debate. There's a brand called James Oro on Instagram. Now, I don't know who James Oro is, but if I ever see this motherfucker, okay, I got a bone to pick with him. He targets unsuspecting, innocent, oblivious customers on Instagram through Instagram ads. And it's not their fault. I mean, I don't think these people know that they're buying fake Cardis. But they're fake. His whole brand is just bootleg Cartier. It's like if you go to like Paris or Italy and there's like all those people just on the street like selling you fake designer. That's what it is. And it looks, they're just so tacky. You know what I mean? Instead of buffs, he's selling you bluffs. Right? Instead of Cartier C's, if they're real Cartier, they got the C. Instead of C's, he's selling you V's. They look like V's. Instead of sticks, he's selling you twigs. You know? Instead of wires, he's got you buying liars. This man, James Oro, needs to be locked up. He's a criminal. Because he's got you guys out here looking fucking crazy. I mean, he's got people out here really like unsuspectingly wearing fake shit. Stop buying glasses off Instagram. Your friends aren't going to tell you. Your friends might even like them, and it's not their fault. They just don't have taste, right? So I'm here to tell you it's time to stop buying James Oro glasses specifically. And James, if you see this clip, stop, because people are going to get hurt. Okay? It's irresponsible, and you will pay for your crimes. Let me have a little water. I mean, guys, I got back from Coachella like 8 minutes ago. I'm a shell of myself right now. I don't even know how but we gotta, the bottom line is the show must go on. Now, I could have got back from Coachella and just gone to bed, but you know, when you're running a podcast, okay, let me tell you, when you're launching a podcast empire like I am, you gotta give the people what they want. You gotta feed the streets. So I walked over to the studio, 3-4 miles, and I'm here to give you my best. Okay. Main topic today. We're gonna talk about live shows. We're gonna keep it on topic with Coachella. Now, something that was probably the coolest experience, other than seeing all the dope acts that I saw at Coachella, was I got to chop it up with AEG and Golden Voice and their top buyers from their company. If you don't know what a buyer is somebody who books talent. They book shows. So they book venues, they book festivals, they book events. Mainly in things obviously operated by AEG and Golden Voice. Now, if you don't know what AEG is, they own everything. I mean, they own Crypto.com Arena. They put on Coachella. If you've been to like the Roxy or the Novo or the Fox Theater, whatever. I'm going to butcher this. But just a bunch of like venues and shows that you've been to, whether it be in LA or in New York or any major city or really anywhere, they own it and book most of the talent for it. So we're going to start talking about the difference between a soft ticket artist, and a hard ticket artist. So a soft ticket is when somebody comes to see a show or like an event, and they're not there to see you, right? So think the club. You go to the club and, oh, so-and-so is performing at the club. Or you go to Coachella. Coachella is a soft ticket event. You know, if, let's say, Rosalia is performing. Not everybody's there to see Rosalia. They're there because it's Coachella, but Rosalia happens to be performing, right? So that's a soft ticket event. A hard ticket event or a hard ticket artist is when you sell tickets, when people are buying tickets to come see you, right? So it's pretty simple to remember it that way. Now, obviously, you do both if you're an artist. The goal is to have hard ticket tours and then also have soft ticket events. You get booked for festivals. You get booked for appearances now and then. Yada, yada, yada. Now, the problem is that it's difficult to sell hard tickets. It's harder than most people think to be a hard ticket artist. And something that I've seen just working a lot in like the rap world is a lot of rappers, they get caught up in the soft ticket world. Because first of all, it's fun to be in the club, and you're getting paid what's coined as brown paper bag money, which is basically like, hey, here's 40 grand cash. Come to Hakkasan and perform for, whatever. Here's 40 grand. And a lot of artists get caught up in this circuit of doing soft ticket events and soft ticket shows. And they don't focus on building up their hard ticket shows. Instead of focusing on building a ticket history and building an actual like fan base, they kind of just get caught up in this whirlwind of just doing soft ticket shows and events and bookings and venues. Now, the problem with this is, again, it's hard to book hard tickets. It's hard to sell out venues. And the problem that a lot of artists are facing today with the social media era and going viral on TikTok, and again, I talked about this on a previous episode, having a viral hit or having hit records does not translate to getting people in seats. And for many artists, this is a wake-up call that normally happens when they're trying to sell tickets. They'll try to do a tour, and they're just either not getting people in seats, they're not selling out because they're being too adventurous in what they're booking. They're trying to book venues that are too big. They're like, well, I've got a fucking smash hit out right now, so I could definitely book a 3,000 cap room. Easy. My song has 80 million plays. I've been trending on TikTok for 2 weeks. No. Wrong. Because having a viral hit is not really in your control. You don't, it's not really up to you to go viral. Sure, you make a great song. You make a hit song. But after you put it out, it's very much out of your hands. You're playing the lottery, and you get lucky sometimes. Things line up. Things catch fire. And you've got a viral hit, but all those listens, all those streams, they're not usually because of you, especially early. You don't have 80 million plays because you're you. You have 80 million plays because the song went viral. And it's a huge jump to get those listeners who don't really even know you, who have never really invested anything into you, time or money, to spend $30 in travel to come see you. And traveling can just be getting out of fucking bed and getting in your car and going to the show. That's a big jump to get those people there and to spend their money to spend an evening with you. And they might not even know any of your music. I mean, you're hearing those kind of stories a lot too, where someone will have a viral TikTok song And the concert, no one knows the words to any of the song. No one knows the words to anything. So it is your job as an artist to build an actual fan base. It is your job to convert as many of those viral, people passing buyers into buyers, into people that are going to invest in your career, not only money, but their time, their emotion. And I think a lot of artists today are so caught up in the metrics. They're so caught up in the social media and going viral that they're not focusing on the other pillar, which is building a community and building a fan base. You have to focus on both. You have to, obviously you need to be trying to drive clicks. You have to focus on the currency attention, right? Because obviously that is the most valuable in the digital age. But if you fucking neglect the other pillar, if you neglect the fan, you will not put people in seats. Because if they don't know who you are, they don't know your brand, they don't feel like they have a relationship with you, then it's going to be tough for them to give a fuck. And that's something you really got to focus on. You got to focus on building community. And there's no blueprint on how to do that. I think, the best way that I can kick it to somebody in terms of advice on how to do that is to just view these fans as your friends. And I know that sounds a little corny, but you need to build a connection with them. You need to make them feel like they're a part of your journey so that as you're seeing success, they feel like, look what we did. Look what we did together. Wow. I've been following this person since they were at da-da-da-da-da. We made it to Coachella. Oh, man. I've been following this person since they had 1,000 views on YouTube. We're playing the Roxy tonight. I got to go show up. I got to support. And as you start to build your ticket history and you start to build your fan base, you'll start small. You start in a little 200 cap room. You start at cafe, hotel cafe. You start a hotel cafe. 50 people there. You build up. The last thing you want to do if you're a buzzing artist is try to sell out a 500 ticket room and sell 400 tickets. Because you didn't sell it out, right? You look crazy. You start with a 200 cap room. You sell it out in 15 minutes. Oh, fuck. The buyers see that. The buyers want to see you selling out. And they want to see you rock a smaller, more intimate venue. Then they'll book you for a 500 cap room. And if you can start selling tickets gradually and organically, building that, because it's a big jump from 200 to 500. It's an even bigger jump from 500 to 1,000. It's an even bigger jump to the Novo, where it's over 2,300 cap room. And just because you have the numbers doesn't mean that anybody's going to want to come see you, right? So again, it's a world that a lot of people don't know about. If you're an artist listening to this, you need to start considering it. If you think you can just sit in your bedroom and release music, you can, but you're not going to be able to play these big shows because you're not going to be able to play Coachella if you haven't played these other theaters, if you don't have a ticket history, right? And again, I think it really all boils down to the fan experience today. And as we're transitioning into not transitioning into, but as we live in the streaming age and the digital age, where fans are investing less time and less attention, and it's your job to hold their hand and make them feel like they're a part of your brand and a part of your journey, right? So yeah, You got to build. And for my artist friends who are already touring and doing stuff like that, or are kind of in this place where you're doing a little bit of both, you got to be careful not to fall into the trap of soft ticketing. Because, what's a great example of this? I just watched the movie Elvis, which was a terrible fucking movie. I mean, Elvis was such a bad movie. It was definitely Tom Hanks' worst role ever. I mean, Austin Butler was great. Anyway, the movie sucked. Don't see it. But something very fascinating about it is they talk about, they show the end of Elvis's career, which, Elvis was on top. This motherfucker Elvis was killing it, right? And he wanted to go do a global tour after he got back from the war and was, having success. He wanted to go do a global tour, and his manager was like a degenerate gambler and was in debt to the casinos in Vegas and pretty much fucked Elvis over because he was pressuring him to do these Vegas residencies. And instead of touring and building hard ticket history and doing a global tour, he had him just in Vegas doing these soft ticket residency shows. And because of that, it's kind of where Elvis literally went to die. But also, residencies and soft ticket sales are where stars go to die. If you're a rapper and all you're doing is club appearances and you're not doing any shows, things get bleak. Why focus on just doing these little $40 brown paper bag things when you could be building up a legitimate ticket history and making hundreds of thousands of getting booked at major stages in Coachella? I mean, if you're selling out big venues and you can graduate to doing these main stages or doing arena tours or whatever you look at Logic. That's how Logic did it, right? You got to be careful of the trap. You don't want to be like Elvis. DJs don't count, obviously. Like DJs doing residencies is different with DJs. We're not talking about DJs. I'm talking about rappers. I'm talking about pop stars. I'm talking about, that. That was Coachella. Learned a lot. Saw a lot of cool music. Sweated a lot. And it leads us to the final thing we're going to talk about today. And it breaks my heart. But this week's FOH HOF inductee, the fuck out of here Hall of Fame inductee, it's Frank Ocean. Frank, buddy, I'm a huge fan. Let me start off by saying I'm a Frank Ocean stan. I literally had like an out-of-body experience in Paris like 4 years ago listening to Frank Ocean. I'm a huge Frank Ocean fan. And what happened last weekend was incredibly disappointing, not only as like a Frank Ocean fan, but just as a music fan and a professional in music, someone that knows people that obviously work behind the scenes of music, someone that knows people that works in production, live touring, now somebody that has friends at AEG and Golden Boys. It was just it was not great. The set was not great. I'm sure you've seen it. He was an hour late. There was like a 20-minute random DJ set in the middle of it. There was a lot of lip syncing. He did some singing, but it was just a lot of, not even lip syncing. I mean, he wasn't even performing, and he was just dancing on stage, like vibing on stage. And like, it was just such a puzzling, strange, and it was a nightmare. I mean, you've seen it, I would hope, unless you live under a rock. His fans, his super fans, I'm a stan, but I'm not like a. I didn't wait out in the heat for 9 hours to go see him. You know, he hasn't performed in 6 years, so you have to understand. We were talking about soft ticket. There were probably a lot of people that bought Coachella tickets to go see Frank Ocean. He was a headliner on the main stage. There is no bigger. It doesn't get bigger. And it was a disaster. They built an ice arena for him on stage, which took months. There were dancers who had been training for months, probably were not paid super well for their training. If you know anything about what it's like to tour as a dancer and to be a dancer, it's grueling. You are severely underpaid. Those people were told the day of, hey, you're not performing. Hey, AEG and all the people that work tirelessly in the crew that set up Coachella, we're going to need to tear this down. Hey, thanks for building it these past couple months. We need to tear it down by 10 o'clock tonight. Not to mention all the other people that had to perform. So they're trying to tear down this ice arena while just like a fucking disaster. And people are making all kinds of excuses for him. You know, his brother passed 3 years ago, and that's horrible. And I'm sure there was maybe some emotion surrounding that. It just doesn't, like, when you got people that are there, when you got super fans that are there to see you, and you are a professional, you put on a fucking show. It's just, it's a bummer because, again, I view Frank, and I'm not saying this in hyperbole. I view Frank with the Princes, with the Hendrixes, with the Beyoncés. Like, he's a genius. The music is undeniable. And there's the mystery to him, which is what I think is a part of the allure, you know? But then just stay that way. Just be mysterious. Don't do the show if you're going to just have a meltdown and not do it. And the whole, like, hurt his ankle thing, he dropped out a weekend, too, because he hurt his ankle, and that's why he couldn't give the show he wanted to give, because he hurt his ankle. Dude, like, fuck out of here. Just sit down and sit. No one came to watch you. You're not Blackpink. You know? You're not fucking Chris Brown. No one's there to watch you dance. If you if you shattered your ankle, just sit down and sing and perform, you know? And this is not I don't want to hear anybody fucking say that this is like a shut up and dribble moment, or you're a performer, you need to perform, you know? Don't be an entitled. It's not that. It's not that. And again, these videos have been beat to death this past week with everybody just like complaining about. This isn't what this is. It's more so of disappointed, and if you want to be one of these greats, if you want to be considered in the conversation when it's all said and done with the people that I mentioned, or people that people are comparing you to, you can't do that. You can't go out there and take a shit on Coachella. It's not professional. It's you're an artist, but you also are like a role model and somebody that people look up to, and people like you know this. You have a responsibility as an artist who people have literally like their hearts are broken to your music. They have sex to your music. They contemplate suicide and then change their mind listening to your music. Your music changes people's lives, and they like when you're at that level, you have people who will travel across the world to come see you, and to just be like, it's fucking whack, dude. And so that's, that's it. I love Frank. I will continue to fuck with Frank and his music. He's got an album coming out, But it's like, come on, man. So you're this week's fuck out of here Hall of Fame inductee. You're the FOH, the Frank Ocean Hurt Hall of Fame nominee. That's a fun acronym. Yeah, that's gonna be it for this show. I'm gonna go take a nap for like 2 days. And we'll be back again next week. Thanks for tuning in, and good night and good luck. We'll see you next time.
Good night and good luck. You smile and say goodbye to me, but I don't give a fuck. You hop in the Uber, off to your future. Good night and good luck. You try to play your cards with me, but I'm calling your bluff, 'cause it wasn't enough. Good night and good luck.